Hey everybody, this is Sue Craig, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Cleveland, Ohio, and today I have a card for you. This card was originally found by me on Jeannie Stark's blog. She used it as a mystery stamping, but I didn't see a video, so I thought maybe it would be helpful to make a video. She called it a standing Z card. I think it's kind of cool because it actually closes this way and will stand, but it opens this way so you can write your message inside. So let me show you how to make this card. The set that we're going to be using today is called Cheers and Sips. This is an online exclusive. It came out in May. This is not a typical set that I would buy, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's really a fun set. I think you're going to enjoy making cards with it too. Let me show you what we need. One of the things we're going to need here, and you may not have seen it on the original card, is the embossing folders. Now there are two embossing folders to this set. They're called Glass and Garden, and one of them has this geometric pattern. The other one has flowers. And we're going to use the geometric pattern on this piece of white just to give it some nice texture. Here's what we're going to need. We'll start with our card base. And our card base is a little different than we normally would use as far as our scoring. We want a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock. And we are going to score it at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. Alright, so 4 1/4 is going to have it close. And then the 2 1/8 is going to have it fold up. So let's go ahead and fold those. And I like to fold back and forth, so we're doing it both ways, just so it's easy to make it work on the card design that we use. Okay, we're also going to need, from the Celebratory Sips Designer Series paper, we're going to need a piece of Designer Series paper that's 2 inches by 5.5. We're also going to need, from that same Designer Series paper, we're going to need a piece that looks like this, like it would be a glass. We're going to be stamping it. And then one of the glasses from the Designer Series paper. It's already made. Alright. We're also going to need a strip of white, which is 1 3/4 by 5. We're going to need a piece of white, which is 3.5 by 3.5. Our pink piece is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then for the sentiment, I have a piece of Blackberry Bliss that's 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. And the white is 1 by 2. 1 by 2. That was easy. I also stamped ahead of time a lemon. And what I did with this is I stamped it in Daffodil Delight and then took some of the Daffodil Delight ink and colored the lemon with my Wink of Stella pen. Okay, all these measurements are going to be in the description below, so don't worry about writing them down or keeping track of anything. So let's get started. we're going to take our card as it's folded right here, and we're going to add our designer series paper. Just going to put a little bit of adhesive here, and this strip is going to go on the very bottom, and you can see that it is the full length of the card base. And if I could get it straight, that would be a wonderful thing. All right, so we have this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the other pieces to it. Let's get our stamping done before we do that though. So I'm going to take these two pieces, and the first thing I want to do on this piece is to stamp the glass shape. And I'm going to use Smoky Slate because the rest of the things that have been cut out, the glasses, have been done in a gray. So I want to do the same type of thing for this. I don't know why my ink is over here. I always work with it to the right. Hey, all right. So we're going to put this down, and what we want to do too is to make sure that we have, that's hard for you to see, let me turn it sideways. We want to make sure that our glass goes beyond the what looks like the liquid. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll cut this out. So this will form our glass. You can see this is pretty quick and easy. Then what I want to do is I want to take our white ink. That's why we're stamping early, because it'll take our white ink a little bit of time to dry. And our white ink is called a craft ink, and it is made, it's a thicker and it takes a little bit longer to dry. What we're going to do is we're going to stamp some ice cubes in our glass. And for this tall one, I'm going to do a couple of stampings of the ice cubes. All right, and then this smaller one, I'm going to do ice cubes. You may not be able to see them very well, but they're right there, and they look pretty neat. So we're going to put those off to the side and let them dry. All right, let's take our white piece and we are going to put it through stamp, cut, and emboss machine, and I'm going to put it all the way over to the left. And you can see some of it is sticking out, and you can also see that the pattern doesn't go all the way across, it just goes part way. So we're going to run that through the stamp, cut, and emboss machine. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that piece that we ran through the embossing machine and we're going to add it to the pink layer. I hold opposite corners when I do this. Try to make it as even as I can all the way around. That's our front. Let's go ahead now and stamp the greeting. And what I have here is on our sample, cheers, let's celebrate. And what I also did was I put both stamps on the same block at the same time. And it looks like one just fell off. So we're going to be using Blackberry Bliss. And a lot of times I like to stamp once at least to see how it's going to look. And then I go ahead and stamp on my piece for my card. I like that I only had to stamp it once. Saves you a little bit of time. Okay, so now we can attach this greeting to the blackberry piece. This is a smaller piece, and so I try to line it up on the left, the top and the bottom. There we go. When you look at this card, you can see that this piece, that's the pink piece, is not taped at the bottom. It's only taped at the very top. In order to do that, I'm going to use the peel and stick tape because it's going to take a lot of pressure. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put some of that tape on the back of this, and I'm going to do 2 strips of it. It really doesn't matter, but I want to just make sure that it's secured. And I also found that if you push down very well on that tape, and then you take your pick tool here and pull, it will pull it up easily. Yeah, except when you're doing a video, then it's not going to work. All right, there we go. What we're going to do with this is we're going to add it to our card. And I want to make sure that this is folded how we want it to be folded. So you're going to take this, fold it so that the whole thing is in half, and then fold this piece down. Excuse me. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece, and again I'm going to turn it sideways so it's easier for me. I'm going to take this top part now and center it between the right and the left, and I want to have it right at the top of this. And I'm not going to push it down until I have what I want here. It looks like it's centered and in place. All right? Excuse me. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our beverages and our Stampin Dimensionals, and we'll add these to the front of our card. And if these are still a little bit wet, just be careful as you're adding them so you don't smear them. You know, when you're doing this, if you see that it's wet, go ahead and just wait a little bit longer. I'm going to take these off. Take the release papers off and throw them away so they don't end up all over my house, which they end up anyway. In fact, I just uploaded a card, and on the card is one of the release papers. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the glasses, and it really doesn't matter which way you add them. On my sample, I have the smaller one, on the side here. And again, I'm just going to set them there till I have what I want. Okay. Then I'm going to add adhesive to the back here at the top, but then I'm going to add dimensionals down here. So down at the bottom we'll have the dimensionals, and I'll put a little bit of adhesive on the top. Again, we'll remove those release papers and add them to our card. And you can decide where you want this to be. If you want it farther over, if you want it here, if you want the pink to show. All right. Now I also want to add my lemon. Again, you could add the lemon like that. If I wanted, I could cut it halfway and add it. I think what I'm going to do is just add adhesive to it and let it be flat, since the rest of it is up on a dimensional. So we have basically the outside done, and all we have to do now, and I'll show you on this one, is put our white paper inside so that we can do any kind of writing if we want. I purposely made this Cheers, Let's Celebrate without doing a birthday kind of thing, so that it could be for anything. It could be graduation, it could be anything that you happen to be celebrating. So I'm adding my adhesive, and I'm just going to put my white piece in here. And now our card is complete. I will tell you that it looks like my dimensional is over the edge here, and it is sticking to the card so that it doesn't open well. So I'm going to take this off. Here we go. I'm going to take that off. Okay. So now what we can do is to close this the right way. I can close this, pull this up, and it will stand up. Show you from the side. I thought it was kind of a neat card. I've never made one like this before, and now that you have the directions and the dimensions, you'll be able to make it as well. Well, I hope you liked this card. I hope you give it a try, and thanks for watching.